Okay, let's review this game. So the game started with Sicilian, g6, e4, take, knight c6, and c4. White pushed the c pawn to c4. And yeah, black chose to turn the game into dragon variation, and it didn't push the d pawn to d6, so it's accelerated dragon. And so knight c3, d6, because white have these two very strong like pawns, controlling d5. It's really hard for us to push the d5 pawn to d5, so we play d6 instead. Yeah, that's good. And we take bishop g7, aiming at the queen. That's good. That's a book move. And castle. We also castle, protect the bishop at the same time, and the queen has to retreat. So bishop to e6. We want to attack the c pawn. And this c4 pawn is quite typical in this variation. White controls this square. But there is something as a downside of pushing the pawn. That is this dark square, especially d4. Also this diagonal. This is something we can utilize because if a pawn at c2, white can push it to c3 to kind of, this is quite solid at this diagonal. But when a pawn pushes to c4, so this is something we can utilize, we can take advantage of. But it really depends on how we develop our structure. And also this c pawn is blocking the e2 bishop, at least for now. So this light square bishop is quite blocked. And on the other hand, the c4 pawn is controlling not only d5 but b5, so it will be a bit hard, difficult for us to push the b pawn. So what can we do? I think develop the bishop to e6 is fine, because other than that, uh, can we move the bishop to b7 instead? I don't think so, because if white push f3, this pawn chain is quite solid. So bishop e6, I think that's fine, and then we can develop this rook to attack c4. So yeah, I will move the bishop to e6 and f3. So this move is a little bit unnecessary for now because there's no threat to e4, and also this move blocked the light square bishop. It also slowed down the development of the queen side. So I think white should just move the bishop to e3 to target this diagonal and also develop this rook. So f3 is not good, and we divide the queen. So queen to a5. I think apart from a5, there is no. Okay, move the queen to b6, for example. Probably not. Bishop e3, take, rook b1. Can we take that? No, maybe we can play bishop c4. If you take my queen, I can take yours, and black will win the pawn. So if you take my bishop, I will take this one. So that's a problem of f3. But I think white will play king h1, and later probably white will play bishop e3. And we can probably move the knight to d7 and queen to e5. So I think now the purpose of moving the queen, so we need to figure out what is the reason we're moving the queen. I suppose we want to develop the rook to c8. Otherwise, I don't think moving the queen out can do anything for us for now, because queen to a5, we didn't target at anything. The knight is solid. We cannot attack the pawn. So I suppose the reason is moving this rook out. But at the same time, the queen can be a target. So if we move this rook, I mean, later we could probably after b3 we can play knight d. Wait, can we play, let me calculate that. Can we play d5? The thing is, as I said, this diagonal, this is something we can utilize. So we can attack the c4 pawn, this is a weakness, and if white take that with the e pawn, we can take that. If you take, what about rook c3? And we attack the queen, we protect the rook, and also we can win this pawn later. Into b5, we can win the pawn, and black's better. So it's impossible to take with the knight, it will lose the rook. What about taking with this pawn? I'm thinking, yeah, I think we can take that still, with a knight still, because we can attack this knight. The knight is pinned, that's a problem. So rook c8, and after b3, I think b3 is the only move, or maybe knight d5. Yeah, this is better than b3 because of d5. And can we push the pawn to b5? And the reason is, if you take, there will be an isolated pawn. I think black can attack the queen, and this is a pawn. How can we attack that? Queen c7. So as I said, white is slow in the development of the queenside pieces, and we can move the queen to c2 to control the c file. If white move the bishop, divide the bishop, well, we can take b2. So the bishop is stuck to protect the pawn, and the rook cannot move to b1. So white will be very passive. And if, for example, bishop d3, we can win the center pawn. And if a4, we can move the queen to c. I think c5 is good. And we can. How about queen to c2? We can attack the pawn. If you take, we can attack this pawn, attack the bishop, and our rook can be active. You see, black is better. If we check, and can move this rook. How can we attack this pawn? Wait a second, let me think. Can we just double the rooks? Because this bishop is stuck here. And white cannot do anything. Because we attack the pawn, and bishop has to protect the pawn. The rook can be activated, maybe a2 after a4. And we can move another rook. So yeah, this bishop is a target. Bishop f4, and we can move the bishop to d4, and later we can take the pawn. So black's better, and we have more active bishops, and also we can control the c file. This is only open file. And after we win the d file, our pawn structure is also better than white. So this is something we can think about, like attack the center with b5 if knight d5. Yes, rook c8. We should speed up our development and attacking on the queen side. So in this game, we play queen a5, bishop d2. Yeah, we move the rook. That's true, but our queen will be under attack, and the queen cannot attack anything at a5. So after b3. So now it's impossible to push a d5 because after knight d5 our queen will be attacked. And also the knight is supported. So we move the queen to d8. And now white is better. This knight is so strong and this pawn structure is so solid. So rook to d1, knight c5, attack the queen. So we still need to find a way to push the pawn. Otherwise we cannot break, we cannot destroy this defense. So can we push upon a5 and a4? Maybe there's something we can think about. If After pawn to a4, pawn to b4, we can move the knight to d7, then to e5 to attack the c4. So at least we have to, I think we need to think about some way to create pawn break, to create some weakness. So exchange, take the knight, a5 is good, bishop to c3, offering exchange, knight a6, and can we just push the pawn to a4, knight d7, then to e5, maybe f4, it's impossible to move knight e5, and we can play b5 probably. I think there's some problem at the dark squares. What about queen to d2, knight e5, and or maybe queen to e3, knight e5, rook d4. I'm thinking about this plan. This looks a little bit scary because we don't have dark square bishop. Okay, so yeah. So we need to handle this dark squares. Maybe move. Okay, maybe we can move this queen first. And move the queen to h1 and knight to d7. At least the queen cannot go to e3, queen to d2. So we can move the knight, attack c4, rook c1, and okay. So white is still better. It's really hard for us. Maybe like this, attack c, yeah, f4, we need to move the knight back. So I think white has a very good control of the center. This makes us hard. f5, yeah, there is still some attacking on the king side. So if knight go here, what about this move? Queen e3, yeah. So the rook's pinned, the knight is on attack. There's a fork. Knight d7. What about we'll lose e7 and also f7. Yeah, this is a problem for black. So white will attack our king side. That's a problem. So let's look at what we did. So we put knight a6. Maybe we want to push b5. I think we still need to attack the queen side. That's something I'm very sure, because it's very hard to push pawn at the king side. This d5 pawn really strong, so we still need to find a solution. Maybe, as I said, queen to b6, a4, and try to attack c4. This is what we can do. And knight a6, I assume b5 is coming, but after queen moved, it's very hard for us to push the b5 pawn, like queen e3, yeah. Okay, knight to b4, maybe that's the plan. But winning a2 pawn is not dangerous for white. I think white can like set up a plan, attack our king side. Rook d2, white plays a safe move. Queen to d7. What about a4? Okay, a3, yeah, that's our knight is stuck here, so a4 is not good. So queen to d7. I mean, b5 is really hard because the light squares bishop is controlling this. What can we do? Maybe b5 and queen to c3, or maybe we can trade the queens. Yeah, at least we can offer queen exchange, because I think the white queen is better than black queen. It has a very clear path attack our king. So maybe offer exchange is good, something we can consider to minimize the advantage of our opponent. Queen d7, rook e1, white is attacking e7, I assume. Rook c7, a defensive move. Bishop d1, b5. We are attacking the queen, so that's good. I think bishop d1 is a little bit problematic because we have the chance to attack c4. That's a really good move. a3, knight e4, rook d5, king g7. I think we are defending queen h6, but you know what? The queen is exposed on this diagonal, so after rook moved, white can double attack and win our a5 pawn. So can we find another way to defend these two moves? What about, at least I can move the knight first, and let's see. So if queen to h6, and we can push e5. If you take, I can take with pawn, because I have a knight, I'm protecting e6, I'm defending h7, but I might lose this pawn, d6. Yeah, maybe we can take it with the knight. If we look to here, we can move knight to f8, we can defend the pawn. Even though we have isolated pawn, we can also attack the queen side. If you take, I can attack this pawn. This pawn could be a pass pawn, even though it's isolated. So I think at least the engine tells black slightly better. At least we have broken this pawn structure from our opponent. So push the pawn e5 if we have the chance. So play king g7, rook e4, attack e7, rook e8. Okay, so I think white realized this attacking plan, and I think white is better than us. Queen to c3. Yes, we lost the a5, and white has huge advantage. Our queen side is broken, it's destroyed. We lost 2 pawns. That's huge, huge loss. So nice receive. Yeah, that's really good. And also our rook has a very passive position. Okay, I think we don't have a chance from this position. Yeah. So after losing a5 and b5, I think we are losing in this game. Rook a7. So yeah, the knight is passive. White has a bishop, and also these 3 pawns are scary. So yeah, so I think first of all, f3 is the mistake white made at the opening, and we should set up a plan to attack the pawn as soon as possible with rook ca instead of queen a5. This is the first thing we can improve. And another thing is we should find a way to attack the queen side, and also like e5 is also something we can consider. Always have something in mind, that is e5 or b5 or d5. This is something black can do in dragon variation if we have the chance. So this is something we can think of. Always keep this in mind. So yeah, like before g7, so knight c5 and e5. So if we can push the pawn e5, we can at least have a very good control of center. And also if white take our pawn, we can remove the d5 pawn. The d5 pawn is really annoying. It makes us have a very low position of the pawns, which makes our pieces moving to the king side even harder. Because if we cannot push these 2 pawns, we cannot move the queen to the king side, and also the rook. So yeah, always have this pawn breaks like e5, d5, or d5, or b5 in mind when we play dragon variation. And that's it.